So in just a second, wave hello to our YouTube audience. I love your birds, the background, Paul. They always chime in at the right moment.
They love Zoom calls, you know.
All righty. Wave hello to our YouTube audience. Welcome.
Hello, YouTube.
Start recording. We're good.
Woohoo! Oh, hey, and it's 9 a.m. So I'm going to get started here. I'm going to share my screen. Whoops. In a second. I think I need more coffee. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to 1 Million Cups. And this morning, let me see if I can hit the present button. Got to move the screen stuff around. All right. If you've never been to, no, that's not what I'm trying to do.
Good morning.
Technology. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to 1 Million Cups. And if you didn't know,
ask your doctor if caffeine is right for you.
It's right for me, let me tell you. Let's see. So we are a nationwide program. Right now, there are 1 million cups happening all around the U.S. And what we like to do is lower the barriers of access to resources and connections for entrepreneurs. And our local mission, we try to create it as a consistent program and also creating value in our program. We make it consistent by coaching our presenters. We don't just let anyone present, right? We don't want someone on the stage who's going to just try to sell you their product. That's not what we're here for. We want to hear their journey. We want the audience to help them out with their challenges. And so it's a very specific type of program, which obviously keeps people coming back to help entrepreneurs and to hear their stories. This is our regional 1 Million Cups meetups. So if you've presented here at Albuquerque, you might consider presenting in another city. Many of these cities are having the online version, the Zoom version of their meetings. So you can still present from across, from Albuquerque to Texas. So and start growing your business that way. Key pillars, again, it's presentations, not pitches. We want to see authentic connections. So later on, we're going to break up into rooms where you get to talk with people more one-on-one, closer, small group. And that's kind of where some of these connections happen. In the real world, where we used to meet, when you saw this big group of people, everyone would kind of break off and have real conversations. So it's not about just handing someone your business card, it's making a connection. And it's run for the community, by the community, and we want to be radically and intentionally inclusive. So for example, people may not know 1 Million Cups exists, so our organizers go out and find people, like Paul found our presenter for last week and talked him into presenting. So if you're worried about presenting, this group is very friendly and we're here to help you and we're here to help your business. So please, if you have a business and you've sold something to at least one person that is not your mother, please sign up to present. We'd love to hear from you. We don't take nonprofits. We encourage them to go to another presentation, but we take for-profit companies. And if you want to apply to present, you can just Google 1 Million Cups Albuquerque and you'll find that application. And when I say it's run by the community, this is our organizing team. We have Paul Zotter, Lisa Adkins, Eric Renz Whitmore, Bob Cisanandale, Adam Sparks Brechtel, myself, Sonia Doing, and we have Charles Garrison, our newest organizer who's come back. Yay! Hi, Charles. And as you can tell, we all have our own jobs and things. We don't do 1 Million Cups full time. So yeah, we're all here because we love this organization. And then we have our great organizers. We have our great sponsors who, especially in the real world, sponsor us. We have FabPipe which Lisa's there right now. And FabPipe is a co-working space. So if you're looking for a space with high-speed internet to get some work done, get away from the kids and the family and the dog and the dishes, that's a great place to go. Loza Intellectual Property has always sponsored our coffee, More Than Organized, our creamer. Jason Collin Photography is our official photographer. And Noventum Custom Software Development always brought the donuts. So we look forward to that. And let's see. And that's it. And then it's on to, I think Eric is up next. Maybe. You're on mute, Eric.
Yes, but I did give the jazz hand, so
Oh, okay,
I'm
good.
hoping that was good enough. Perhaps, how many theater people do we have in the audience? Can I see a show of hands? Oh, wow, that's more than I expected. Well, hey, who knows? Maybe a different breakout room. So, so one of the things that's going on this morning is it's a little bit different. This is National Entrepreneurship Week. There's a lot of different weeks, and every third day is National Pizza Day. So hopefully you're enjoying that. Hopefully that's not packing on too many pounds. But this is one of the different weeks where folks are celebrating entrepreneurship. And partially related to that, our show today is a little bit different than usual. So we're having a little bit more of a community conversation, but one of the things that we thought would be useful to help kick that off is most of us, at least, are based in Albuquerque. And Albuquerque's been doing a lot of work to help find ways to concentrate efforts and support our small business owners. The entrepreneurs are starting those small businesses that are really the lifeblood of pretty much any city. So we invited David Sayers yesterday from the City of Albuquerque Economic Development Office. We invited him yesterday to see if he could join us and share a little bit about what's been going on with Small Business Office, how that's working, and some of the trends that he's seeing. So I'd like to invite David onto the main stage. I don't know what this is called. That's not jazz hands. But I'll invite him to speak for a little bit. And I think he's set up to share a screen if he wants to.
Great. Thank you so much, Eric. Again, like she had mentioned, my name is David Sayers. I'm the City of Albuquerque Small Business Office Manager. A little bit about the Small Business Office. It was founded in September 2019 as part of the city's initiative to support and reflect that the city has support behind small businesses and to promote a vibrant ecosystem for entrepreneurs. So during the time of COVID, the city provided several opportunities and programs. For example, the Economic Development Department and the Emergency Operations Center, partnering with our chambers of commerce here locally, were able to continually administer a program providing PPE supplies, $1 million of PPE supplies that were sourced almost entirely by local businesses, so that they can meet the requirements of safe distancing, and providing all that equipment. So I also want to talk about how the city recently announced the Community Impact Fund, providing $2.5 million in CARES Act funding to families who were previously excluded from other federal stimulus aid. If you are interested or want to share more information, you can find that information on our website. I can pull it up here, or I'll share it in the comments here shortly. And that, again, is for families who had not received any assistance up to this point. The city also recently just announced the initiative to promote Albuquerque as home for life, which is positions essentially Albuquerque as a healthy mid-sized alternative to larger cities. It is a comprehensive marketing initiative to promote Albuquerque as an ideal location for people seeking for more healthful and relaxed lifestyle. The whole project promotes remote workers or those who can do their job from anywhere. We're also trying to target former Burquinos and try to attract them to come back to Albuquerque. The City of Albuquerque Small Business Office is now actually preparing to launch and host webinars and online events to support our small business community. We're looking at right now, I believe we're kind of considering cybersecurity and also bringing in a consultant for CARES funding to advise on the requirements that are going to be reported at later on this year for CARES funding. Anyone who had received like a PP loan, for example, you'll have an opportunity to talk to an advisor or ask questions about what that looks like later down the road. If you want to contact the small business offices, you can reach out to me. You can email the small business office at cabq.gov or call 505-768-3730. Yeah, any questions I can take right at this moment?
Yeah, I'll kick off. One of the things I'm really curious about is, I know this has just been such a turbulent time coming up on a year now. Are you seeing any themes from folks who are looking for assistance? Is there, I mean, oftentimes people are looking for money, cash, whatever, but, whether it's that or something else, I'm wondering if there's like a particular need that a lot of people are going for. And then also if there's any lessons learned around that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're all kind of, first off, we're all kind of holding our breath to see what ends up rolling through our city as far as federal stimulus. But that seems to be the main theme. Businesses are also, I've experienced just walking businesses through the Department of Health website where it outlays all the requirements and restrictions that are available at that time. So I try my best, or at least the small business office, we try to advise on those restrictions and anticipate what are the next steps as we move from yellow to green, red to yellow, and try to be on top of it as far as information goes. Some of the struggles I've seen are, I have recently started seeing a kind of an uptick in people who are looking to start new businesses. And it ranges from, I believe I spoke to a donut shop. We're talking to some marketing companies, people who have reached out, asking questions about starting businesses and seeking resources for those startups. After some conversations, I know that probably one of the biggest problems as a startup is finding that funding. And I know some current banking institutions are trying to manage their portfolios, so they're a little bit more risk adverse right now as far as lending to new businesses. So that seems to be a common trend I have seen. So what I've been trying to do is actually promoting startups if they fit certain criteria or fit the requirements to learn about government contracting. So it's either being a vendor with the city, with the state, or a federal vendor. We're now trying to target those areas for startups so that they can secure a contract with the city. And these contracts range from hauling tires to cybersecurity, some of it's administrative work. So there's a whole range of opportunities to become a vendor with the city and be able to have that cash flow. So with that said, I believe the city is releasing procurement opportunities every quarter per year. I have seen some that just float up to the procurement website. So if you're a business and you're looking to do you want to see if there's opportunity for you to sign up, reach out to the small business office and we can get you started and walk you through the steps. Trying to think if there's any more trends off the top of my head, but yeah, just those two trends that I see is just walking people through the Department of Health and then trying to locate resources for startups.
Cool deal. Yeah, thanks so much. Let's see, and please, yeah, if you have a chance, David, go ahead and put some of that information in the chat so folks can get that in that way, if you don't mind. Absolutely. And then also, yeah, so for folks in the audience, any questions for David, or just we're really interested in kind of seeing as we move into more recovery mode. I mean, there's still businesses, still people that are struggling pretty strongly. We're wondering what kinds of, what are you learning? What are you looking for? And how can we as a community help you? I see Paul with his hand up.
Sure. So I'm sure you're probably familiar with the concept of SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So if you were to do a SWOT analysis of Albuquerque and stack it up to cities of comparable size, what are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? What are the opportunities? And what are the threats?
That's a loaded question, and I have a lot of opinions. But first off, I think Albuquerque offers, businesses so much opportunity with beautiful landscapes. And I could go on about the opportunities, the strengths, like minimum wage is, labor is affordable here. We have an intersection of two major interstates. We have an international airport. So all these combined really gives a template for businesses to come in and plug into our ecosystem, especially with events like 1 Million Cups. We have so many resources and nonprofits that are available to startups. So as far as strengths, those are kind of my top tier. Weaknesses, I think that's a good one. I think just the nature of the pandemic we're in right now is really difficult to, it's a catch-22. We want to attract new companies, and it's a great opportunity. I mean, a lot of commercial real estate is opening up, but also on the flip side, like what I mentioned earlier, some banks are looking to be more risk adverse. There's trying to manage their portfolios. And so that kind of financial support system, at least, can be scarce. I think that's all I want to say about weaknesses. And then opportunities, kind of briefly mentioned earlier, kind of we're right in the middle of the Southwest, and we have all these opportunities to do maybe logistical or some kind of import-export opportunities here. For those that don't know, we actually, under Economic Development Department, we have an office that promotes international trade, and it's the International Trade Alliance. So if you're a business and you want to start perhaps procuring your materials from Mexico or some other country, and you want to kind of map how that works, reach out to the Small Business Office. I can get you in contact with our Foreign Trade Alliance and go through that. Let's see, threats. Well, as far as threats, I mean, just the biggest threat right now, I'm really in support with businesses, and I really want to be in step with them, and I'm an advocate for businesses. So just the threat from my office is trying to give effective and correct information to businesses about reopening, and it can be a little, I spent a lot of time on the Department of Health website trying to take a look about what each zone, what each level from red to yellow, what that encompasses as far as each business, like salons or restaurants or even law firms. What are we looking at as far as allowing people to come in, what the penalties are? I've had questions of businesses asking what those penalties are, and I feel like those are all threats as far as supporting businesses and being an active advocate. I mean, it's very hard for me to communicate to businesses what the next steps are when it's kind of unknown what the next steps are as far as the state handling the pandemic.
Good. I know Lisa had a question, and I think we've got a couple other questions that I see out there.
Hey, David. So, I run Fat Pipe New Mexico, the co-working network. We have locations in Albuquerque, Rio Rancho, East Mountains, and soon to be Taos. We cater to remote workers and would love to get involved with your campaign to promote Albuquerque and all of New Mexico as a great place for remote workers. I didn't see a lot of outreach from the city when it came to putting that campaign together. So what do we need to do to get involved?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sorry, to be quite frank, the Economic Development Department we have a new public relations officer who is managing that program. It didn't really strike to me until you just mentioned it that you weren't included in that program. So I'm happy to make that connection. And yeah, let's connect as far as that goes.
That'd be great.
I fully agree that Fat Pipe definitely caters to remote workers, offers that space, the professional space, and high-speed internet that is invaluable for remote workers and businesses. So yeah, let's connect. I'm happy to connect.
All righty. I'll email you, David. Thanks.
Sounds great.
And I keep forgetting to take myself off mute. So let's see. Yeah, still looking for other questions. Hey, Mark, I know put you on the spot a little bit, but you work with West, which is one of the real kind of leading service providers for entrepreneur service organizations statewide here in New Mexico. I'm wondering, are there any kind of themes that you see when folks are coming in? Are they looking kind of long term? Are they looking for something that's more immediate help? What are you seeing out there?
Well, I mean, things have definitely changed from the, let's call it the March through October kind of phase, right? Where people were just a little bit of shock and awe, and they just really wanted kind of immediate mitigation, figuring things out. Um, it's hard for us to say because we get a lot of people that want to start new businesses, right? So um, when things happen to the economy, and I've only been at West for 4 years now, I wasn't there for the older cycles of kind of slight booms and busts, right? The '08, '07, '08, '09 kind of period. But I think when people are faced with challenges, they decide, and I've seen this a lot in consultations and in our training classes, people saying, I'm in a situation where I want to go out on my own. Like I either lost my job or this isn't working out, or I'm seeing an opportunity here. And so we are seeing a lot of a new job creation or new business, desire, right? To start a new business, to turn a side hustle into a bigger business, to, start a side hustle because things might not be looking good in their current job. So I see a lot of that. As far as kind of what services, I mean, they're the essential ones. When times are good, you can market and sell and perform your way out of kind of some more difficult financial situations. But when things start slowing down, it's really time for you, a business owner, to really look at their expenses, kind of get really in tune with their financials and their numbers. So we're seeing a lot of people, I wouldn't say taking this opportunity, but maybe being forced to use this opportunity to look really closely at their cash flow and their break even, of how their profit margins are, and really getting into the nitty gritty of their numbers. And so that's a trend. When you're forced to, you tend to look more at your actual financials, not your like, oh, things are going well, kind of looking at your financials. So that's what I would say.
And I'll build on that. I'm curious if there's other comments on that, but that's one of the things that I've seen about the various different CARES and other kinds of emergency funding packages is they really require a lot of good bookkeeping that some of the smaller businesses, some of the, indie kind of shops don't necessarily have. And so, like the first time this rolled around, the folks that really probably needed the most help and were, in a lot of different ways, they weren't prepared to deal with it, and they weren't able to participate. But also, they kind of, once that was over, a lot of them also didn't do the work that they needed to do to be ready for the next round of different funding programs. So that seems like it's an ongoing challenge. So it's a good opportunity to make sure your books and everything is in order. I wanted to ask JJ over at Albuquerque Hispano Chamber of Commerce, what is it that you've seen? I know you deal with a lot of businesses. What is it that you've seen in terms of kind of the needs that they have?
Yeah, thanks, Eric. Hey, everybody. David, great information, and I love partnering with West and Small Business Office, SBA. We're partners as well. We also have the Minority Business Development Agency and PTAC also on site, as I put in the chat. But to answer your question, I think legal questions has been a huge ask for us at the Hispano Chamber. So, for example, one of our partners, we did a series last month, and it's got so popular, it's called Business as Unusual. And we had Modrell and Sperling, one of our huge partners from a legal standpoint, come on and allow all of our members to call in. We were getting questions about bankruptcy, about how to handle COVID legal aspects, the sick leave. We were getting a lot of asks in regards to, commercial real estate. I don't want to go bankrupt. What do I do? How do I handle that? Staffing issues with COVID. We had a construction site call us and say, hey, one of our employees doesn't want to wear their mask. How do we handle that, right? So you can imagine there's been a lot of different asks from that standpoint. But I think even just in regards to insurance, it's one of those topics people don't understand. And I'm glad to hear other people talking about this, in the sense that we had so many businesses come to us and didn't even know where to start in regards to how to apply for the CARES Act and funding, whether it be for-profit or nonprofit. They qualified. It's free money. So we did a lot of webinar series around that. But if I had to pick something specifically, at least for 2020, it's been legal resource has been probably the biggest ask.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you so much for sharing, and appreciate you. I just appreciate the heck out of the different organizations like the Hispano Chamber of Commerce and like West that are, kind of here on a consistent basis, just kind of listening in and offering assistance, offering connection and all that. I don't know. I'm just feeling very warm and fuzzy about the crowd that we've got here today. Let's see. Any other questions for the folks? Whether it's folks with city or one of the service organizations or just other entrepreneurs about where folks are at and how things are moving forward.
I've got a question for David. It may be unfair, but I've got a brief one. One of the things we see at West is, one of the biggest barriers for our, the real micro enterprises, right? The things that make our city great, like the bakers and the food makers, and even people on making, maybe even if it's some sort of art that requires, I don't know, some sort of materials that aren't necessarily kosher and what have you. But it seems like not legislatively, but the city's kind of codes and policies can sometimes be just a small barrier. For example, just look at the cottage laws and the home kitchen, and I understand the need to balance safety and environmental. But is the city actively looking at some of those? And like I said, I don't want to put you on the spot. This probably isn't your department, but I would think that in terms of like making your own kombucha, being able to just bake, different foods and make things happen. Is there any look at how the city can be more a conducive environment for micro enterprises? And once again, if this is I do not want to put you on the spot or anything like that, but any thoughts on that from David, from the city, or anybody else?
Absolutely. Actually, funny thing that this comes up, about a week or two ago, I was just tasked with submitting recommendations about an economic recovery plan for the city. And these are all kind of like wish list things that I wish the city could do to be more efficient or be better. And so, for example, I want to streamline the permitting process or streamline the zoning process for businesses, and actually having some kind of appropriate answer to give the businesses as far as how long will I hear back from somebody, how long before this I submitted and I talked to this person who I needed, and they send me, there's this kind of back and forth because people reach out to me when they really need to talk to the planning department. So I want to make sure I'm streamlining some formal communication between me and the planning department as far as business registrations, and making that, whatever that process is, as streamlined as possible. Because I've been working, and this comes up because I have actually been working with a business in the North Valley who just wants to expand their parking lot as part of their service areas. And it's just been a nightmare to try and help them navigate through city and planning. There's also talk of perhaps like looking at, as far as COVID relief, trying to bag parking meters for businesses. I mean, this has been an ongoing question, why we can't perpetually have ongoing bagged parking meters to support small businesses. Things like that come up, and we put together a plan and we review it. And I think right now we're going to try and pursue low-hanging fruit, but with a bigger agenda as far as a recovery plan that you mentioned. So yeah, if anybody has any suggestions as well, I'm also open ears. I want to be able to hear the community and hear their struggles and say, look, that person over business registration, they didn't get back to me for 2 weeks. I'm happy to hear about these things to try and see where we're not aligned with the community, the entrepreneurs we're trying to serve.
Great, thanks.
David, would you be open to a breakout room in case somebody would want to give you some direct feedback maybe today, or ask a question related to their own business?
That'd be great. Yeah, I got my notes. I'm ready. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to set up a room for you.
Perfect.
So I guess we have a few new people I'm noticing in the participants list, some people I don't know. And we would love to invite you guys to introduce yourselves. Let's see, I'm having some video display issues right here. I'm having trouble navigating my screen. My camera went berserk. Let's see. How about you, James? Have you introduced yourself? Welcome.
I haven't, thank you. Appreciate everybody hosting this thing. It's been a long time since I've been at 1 Million Cups. So I'm James Kasemi. I'm wrapping up my role as engineering director for a federal contractor out of DC, and just looking to see what's going on in the community right now, who's doing some interesting things, what kind of support it needs, and just kind of hanging out and checking things out from afar right now. I hope you can hear me. I don't know if I have my microphone set up too well, but it's good to see everybody.
Great. That's awesome. Welcome. So, are you here because you're looking for your next opportunity?
I've got a couple of months I'm going to take off and spend a little bit of time with my daughter while she's going through some of the remote schooling stuff and COVID. And then, I'm thinking if something pops up, that's fantastic. Always good to be inspired.
This is a good place to do that. Thank you. Welcome. Fiona Wong, would you like to unmute yourself, maybe turn on your camera and introduce yourself to the community? Or maybe she stepped away from coffee.
Sorry, I'm not presentable right now.
No worries. Tell us who you are, Fiona, and how you found out about us.
I've heard about you guys. I'm actually in Santa Fe, but my son attends Albuquerque Academy. He's in 8th grade, and we've been commuting the last 2 years. But we've built a tiny home and we've completed it. And just when we completed it, it was the lockdown. And so the whole house was just, left kind of useless in Albuquerque. And now the school has announced that they are doing in-person learning next week. So, and my goal was always to spend most of my time in Albuquerque and work in Albuquerque. So I like to get to know people in Albuquerque and find my next big opportunity. I come from a very varied background. I'm originally from Singapore, but I've been doing all sorts of things with my life. But my latest venture was I started Sweetwater Harvest Kitchen in Santa Fe 15 years. We moved here 15 years ago. So I started the restaurant 8 years ago. But somebody up there liked me, and I managed to sell my share back in October 2019, just in time. And I haven't been working all this time, but now I'm ready to get back into the work world, and I'm really passionate about American politics now. I just became, citizen 2019 so that I could vote in 2020. And I would really like to apply the rest of my life to something meaningful. So that's what I'm looking for, to fight climate change, to help with local food sourcing, anything can help make the world a better place, not to sound corny, but that's where I am now. And I would like to do it in Albuquerque, somehow, some way. So if anybody can have any leads that can give me some tips, I would truly appreciate it.
That's amazing, Fiona. I have a question for you. What's it like to spend COVID in a tiny house with your family? That seems like that would be a challenge.
Well, so I built the tiny home very close to the academy, but we have a house in Santa Fe. So we're very fortunate that we have a house that is quite large. And so we were locked down here, and my husband still had to work. And so not to get into too much details, but he actually got COVID 2 weeks ago. So after the whole year of locking down and being really good, he caught it from his colleague. But thank goodness it's been a very, very mild case. And my son and I are both negative. So they say when you live together, like 90% of the time you would catch it from each other. But we did not, because I'm from Singapore and we are very meticulous. And, we were wearing masks and doing social distancing in our own home. And so that is possible, that even if you live together, you can avoid catching COVID. My son and I being the evidence. but you just have to be very vigilant.
Yes, we hope that your husband feels better soon. And welcome to the community. This is a great place to meet people and find opportunities. So we hope you come back.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So that's all the new people I see in the list. I do have 3 breakout rooms set up. I have our COVID room with Paul Sauter. Fiona, Paul is our local scientist. He knows a lot about COVID. He even entered a vaccine trial, which he talks about a lot. So if you have questions, he's a good resource for you if you'd like to join his room. Sonia Dewey's going to do the How to Find Your Customers' Pain Point session.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm not an expert, but I'm working on this for a new company I'm starting, and love to talk to all of you. If you have a new idea for a business, we can talk about how to find that pain point.
Awesome. And then David Sayers is going to continue discussions with the Small Business Development Center with the City of Albuquerque. So as soon as I click open all rooms, any of you who have asked to be pre-assigned, which I wasn't really paying attention, so I better catch up, you'll go into the room automatically, but if you have the correct version of Zoom, you should be able to move around freely. So if everyone's ready, actually, let's turn off our recording, say goodbye to our audience.
Bye, YouTube.